Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to episode 3 in the Linux Basics series. In this series I'll walk you through the basics of using Linux. And this episode we're gonna talk about editors. So actually I want to have 3 editors I want to show you. Nano, VIM and Emacs. So I'll first quickly cover Nano, then go to VIM, and lastly I'll cover Emacs, which is not coverable in one video. But at least I want to show you the basics. And like said, this is episode 3, and if you're not sure about the other ones, there should be a playlist popping up, so make sure to check them out. And without further ado, let's dig into the video.
Hello again, welcome to a new episode of the Linux Basics series. And today we're going to be covering editors. And on forehand I would like to say this video is not to be considered exhaustive in any way. And it's not meant to be that. It's just a Linux Basics series and just touching on the surface of these editors. But I think it's important if we touch on the world of editors, I mention VIM and Emacs as well. But we're gonna start quite simple with Nano. Alright, so I have my screen key set up now. Here we have screen key. And the first editor we're gonna talk about is not that complex. If you hit Nano, if you type it, you'll see an editor is open. It's a new buffer, meaning you can just write your text in here. And if you're done with that, you could do this caret key. And that stands for the control. So if you have Control O, you can write out. Here you have all these other options in there. And this is a text. And you want to write this to a file, and then it's Control O. Then file name you want to write, testing123 txt. So hit enter, and you wrote one line, and then you can exit Control X, for example. And let's get that, and here testing123 text, and let's cat testing123. Oops. Here, this is a text. Now you have that one file. And it's very easy. Some people swear by Nano. But if you do swear by Nano, I think you're selling yourself short. The real power, I think, in terminal-based text editors lies in VIM. So you have VI, and that's the one that it all started with. And after that, you had Bram Molenaar. And he improved VI to what we know as VIM today. So there's really a big history, but I won't go into every detail. So what I'll just do with you is just to start it up, moving around, exiting, doing some simple day-to-day edits. And from there you can improve your skill. So before I show you that, first, let's look at some programmer humor. At least it's only funny when there's some kind of core of truth in there, in a joke, right? So here you have the learning curves for Notepad, very small one, and then flat, Pico, and it's also the same for Nano. It's a similar editor, so it's quite like this. It's easy. Visual Studio, bump, and then it gets easier. VI, so initially it's steep to dive into VI/Vim, but after that it gets easier, but I think you can dive deeper, and Emacs is like a whole new thing, right? About the learning curve, I think this actually sums it up better. So the Vim learning curve, so open, modify, WQ, and then mouseless, modes, vimrc configs, and use more plugins, writing plugins, so muscle memories. So I think this is more accurate for the Vim learning curve. It's a good one. Actually, I read it rvim for Vim enthusiasts. So one other tab. So there's opensource.com, there's a vote 2018. So these memes you hear a lot. Emacs is a great operating system with a lousy text editor. And the second one about Vim, you only use Vim because you never figured out how to quit it. So this fun memes, and I think there's some truth into that. But if you see what's your favorite command line text editor, Emacs, around 1,000 votes, quite a lot. Vim has double, and then something else in the comments. So I will have a link to these polls in the show notes, so you can read for yourself. But yeah, that's just 2 pieces of information I wanted to share with you. So you have the VI, and most of the time it's VI improved in modern systems. And you have Neo Vim, and also NVim, they call it. And there's some other variants of that. In this video, I'm going to talk about Vim, because I think that's a good starting point. And Vim is also delivered in many Unix-like systems. So Linux, and also on Mac it's installed by default. So if you ever wanted to edit a text file in a system directory, then yeah, you could use Vim if you don't have GUI access to it. So as you can see, I've started up Vim, and if you escape, then you're in command mode, and yeah, if you type :Q, you exit Vim, basically. So I just started it up, Vim here, and now it's in command mode. You can do :Q straight away and then exit. So starting up and exiting, you're already more knowledgeable than the meme, right? So, but sometimes it could get confusing, and I do say you just press escape a lot of times and then try to type : and then Q. And if you don't want to save it, do it like this with an exclamation mark behind it. But you have Vim and you have Neo Vim, so there's kind of like the same features, but NVim is more modern, and you could also just start using NVim in my opinion. But for the sake of the video, to make it a little bit comprehensible for you, let's start with Vim, because that's the default that's already delivered. Probably if you're on a Unix-like system, you probably have Vim already on your system. So let's start it up again. And if you type I, you go into the insert mode here. And you can just type away, this is a text in Vim. Hope you like it. So what's there to like about the text, right? But anyways, if you have this and you want to write it to a file, escape to go into command mode. And if you want to write that to a file, type :W and sample text, for example. Here you go. So you can see sample text is now written. Let's quit out of Vim again. :X. You should have the sample text in here. Let's cat it real quick. Cat sample text. Here you go. So it's very easy. If you want to open that file again, just as an argument, give the file name here. So now it's open, and yeah, that's basically, you can move around with the arrow keys, but you can also use Vim navigation. So, and that's HJKL. So HJKL is the movement key. So as you look at your keyboard, if you have a QWERTY keyboard layout, you probably, if you're used to touch typing, your right index finger is on the J. That will be the first key to press to go down. So, and it's also, if you think about the use case, so if you open a new file, what do? You probably want to scroll down, right? To read the whole file. And that's why the most important key for that is on your index finger, right at your disposal. So it makes a lot of sense actually. If you would use the arrow keys all the time, that's also cool. You can do that, but you have to move your hand to get to the arrow keys, right? So, and J is down and H is up. K is up. J is down, K is up. And if you want to move to the right, L. If you want to move to the left, press H. Very easy, right? And you can also move by words, pressing E. And if you want to jump to the top of the file, GG. Then you go to the top. If you want to jump all the way down, Shift GG. So capital. So this is not too big. But let's say you want to copy these lines like 10 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines, 4 YY. And as you can see here, 4 lines are yanked. And you can just press P to paste. As you can see. So it now pastes all these lines. Now all the way to the bottom, GG to the top. So you have these lines here. And yeah, like I said, you can jump all the way down. Go to the top. So actually I think that single G is doing it as well. Single G. Just notice that. But GG to the top for sure. Alright, let's say you want to search for something. So you see here the first it, for example, slash and it. You can see it has found it, it marked it. If you hit enter, then you can go to the next iteration by pressing N. As you can see, it jumps to the next. Previous, of course, as you can imagine, holding shift down. So you can easily find text. And let's say you want to change this specific word. So if you the CW will change the word. And let's change it to Linux. Escape again to exit. And now you can navigate. Let's go back to the top. And if you want to search for Linux, just do so. Oops. Linux. So as you can see, it's there. And if you want to search for next, no, it hit bottom, continuing at top. So it wraps the search for you. So that's very, very powerful indeed. And let's say you want to delete a whole line. Let's insert the text before. If you want to insert the text as this position, and just press I, remove. All right. So, and sometimes I now go fluently between the insert mode and the command mode. So I won't say it anytime. But if you, for example, want to remove this line, press DD. So now the whole line is stored into the memory of Vim. Oops. If you want to undo something, press U. So let's remove it again. If you want to insert it here, just press P. And there you go. Now it's in there. You can move up again. But yeah, it's stored into the internal memory. So you can, it's like copy pasting. So if you want to copy it without removing, then do the YY, yank it. It's like a cut and versus copy and paste, right? All right, pretty cool, right? And there's also some visual mode. So if you have like a block of code you want to indent, press V. And then go down, what you want to indent. And then greater than indents this. So it's the greater than. And you can do, of course, with less than, do it like this. Move it back. So it's pretty cool, right? And if you want to, for example, just V text in Vim and press Y once. And now you have that copied. And then you can paste here text in Vim. All right, so I think that is just about it for this. There's also, yeah, you can use Vim as a simple text editor. And let's quit out of this. So if you want to write it, I haven't touched on it, I think. You just colon WQ, so write quit. And you can also do X as a shorthand, but let's do write quit for now. And as you can see, it has... let's get, you see the whole thing here again, right? And same if you have installed NVim, you can have similar functionality as Vim. So all these things that I just showed you, like DDing and pasting, and everything is the same in NeoVim. So that's pretty cool. And you can also extend it way further. So this is the out of the box NeoVim. I haven't customized it in any way at this moment. So let me know in the comments if you want to dive a little bit deeper. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper, there's a whole lot of resources out there. And to get started, there is the Vim tutor. So on vimhelp.org, this is the website. You have the documentation in here. And I would suggest you just look at this if you get started. Of course, you've looked at my video. But yeah, you can also practice using Vim. So here you have the first steps, running Vim for the first time. So, and you can practice with it and edit the text. And yeah, that's basically what I just showed you in a nutshell. So I have the link to this website in the description. But what you also can do is hit :help and then Vim tutor. So it's just from within Vim. You have the same text in here. So you don't actually need to exit Vim to follow the Vim tutor. If you want to go into this, then you have this squarey bracket, control squarey bracket, you go into there, right? So you can, I'm now using my mouse to touchpad to scroll. You can also do that. So, but if you want to click on something, it doesn't really work. Maybe if you're using a separate other computer, it does work, but for me, it doesn't work. So just know that you can go here and then go into there pressing control. All right, so I think this will definitely learn you a lot. If you want to exit, again, :Q, and then you are exited. So if you want to disregard, so : an exclamation, and yeah, that's, I think, just about it for Vim and getting started. So a couple of other resources I do want to give you. For example, here you have the fandom, the Vim tips wiki, the fandom, and there's a whole lot of tips on that. So it's like 1649 pages of tips in there. Check it out. And two people I want to highlight is the Primogen. Yeah, the Primogen Vim, and he has an own channel, and yeah, this is pretty cool. So it's really inspiring to see the speed of this of Primogen. And yeah, it's pretty cool to follow. And another one is TJ de Vries. It's a Dutch name, but I don't think the guy is Dutch, actually. So TJ de Vries also has a YouTube channel. He also has, but he's more related to NeoVim, I think. So he has some cool tutorials. And yeah, you can just dive into there. And pretty cool. And I think that is just about it for Vim. And the next editor is Emacs. And Emacs is a whole rabbit hole on itself. And it's a terminal-based application, but there's also you can also use it as a desktop. For now, I have Emacs No X. That is the one I have installed. And yeah, it opens it up and it's a little bit customized already. And you have here the recent files. And it's a really deep rabbit hole. But what you could do, if you're coming from Vim, then you could work with evil mode. Yeah, so let's open up these files. Navigation, for example. So here are some tips on navigation. So Control A, move to the beginning of the line. And M is the Alt key, meta. You move to the non-white space character line, end of the line for. So you have similar kind of navigations, but you need to press the Control. So Control and P, moving up again. So yeah, you can move, but if you want to undo do Control and then slash, front slash. But there's a different way of navigating, basically. But if you want to combine these two, like the Emacs and Vim, you hit Mod and this Alt X, and I've it installed evil mode, and now I have evil mode, and meaning I can use the Vim based navigation for Emacs as well. So that's really powerful in my opinion. If you're coming from Vim, then yeah, you have now the model editing like I showed you before. If you want to add a new line, just press O, start typing away, go to escape again. So yeah, that's really yanking the lines and stuff like that, like working in Vim. So if you want to, let's not save it. So yeah, I think Emacs is a whole system on itself, and I really dove into the rabbit hole a couple of years back. And the one that got me started, actually, let me show. And it was this Emacs Rocks, and also showed it on Inspiring Tester Tech video. So, and just the speed of editing and yeah, the way it worked, it looked like a very awesome workflow to have. And then I dove into the whole Emacs, and after Emacs I dove into Vim. And basically what I use now most of the time is just Vim. And Emacs has some strong points. So one of the strong points of Emacs is org mode. If I fire up Emacs again, and let's create a new file. I'll do this with you. And for that, you type Control, hold Control XF. And it says, well, find files or URL. And here I have my directory. And let's do hello org. Call it .org. Enter. It creates a new file for you. And it's org. And it already recognizes that it's org mode. And you can create a structured document using org mode. If you had the asterisk here and strong points, Emacs. And if you hit Alt Enter, you add a new one. And let's say org mode. If you want to have that as a child element, press Alt and arrow to the right. So here you see that you have 2 stars now. You could also type it, of course, but this is shorthand. 3, etc. You can go on with that. And also go back, depending on where you push the arrow, which side you push the arrow. Here, org mode. And if you hit Alt Enter again, you create a similar one on that level. And let's do organizing our calendar. So there's our integrated calendar in org mode, and it's actually a sub element. As you can see, it denotes it by the color. Let's say you want to have on this high level, add a new one, Alt Enter again. And oops, it cut off the S, X. There you go. You have a new one, and let's say strong points. Of Vim, and then you want to reposition it. Hold Alt and Alt Shift, and then you can move it. So now I'm really structuring the document here. I want to add a new one. Up, so just like this. Strong point of Vim, speed, for example. And let's do. I don't know if you can call Vim lightweight, but let's call it lightweight-ish. Lightweight-ish. So there's more lightweight editors, of course, but I think it's compared to Emacs is lightweight. Let's call it like that. All right. And if you want to add stuff in here, do that again. And you can repeat the process, but you can also have like these kind of lines here. So you could even have checkboxes. So org mode, making structured documents. Do that again. Showing notes. And exporting to PDF, for example. And now you have these points here, and you can move it similarly. So it's very strong. All right. If you are done with something, hit Control CC to put the checkbox in there. So you can make lists to do and all that good stuff. And you can also invoke a calendar, so planning. And actually, if you want to dive into there is actually a course on Udemy, and I'll pull it up. So two, actually, I want to point out, and it's Rainer Koenig. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And for org mode, yeah, he's a really chill guy, and he goes through, organizing your notes using org mode. Yeah, it's pretty cool to follow along, and just take your time and chill. And here's some various other content in there, but mainly the org mode is predominant, I think. So let's go to the playlists here. Yeah, the org mode. He has 40 tutorials in there in the whole playlist. I will have a link to the channel. But not only that, he has an Udemy course. So introducing the basics of org mode and workflows, time tracking, all that good stuff. And you can check it out if you want to learn more about Emacs and org mode. This is really scratching the surface here, but I hope it shows that you can have a structured way of taking notes. And just start organizing the notes, and I really enjoy that way of working, to be honest. And just to summarize here, if you want to make structured notes, you can use org mode in Emacs, and you can also export it. So if you want to export this file, Control CE, and you go to this, and you can export it as a presentation using org reveal, and that's a whole topic, but you can basically create HTML slides from it. But you can also do it as HTML or PDF. So just press the button here. So for example, reveal, and go reveal and browse. It will launch a browser. But for now, I think I don't have the whole configuration in there. It should show a slideshow. But this is basically exporting your notes that you'll be able to export and show. And I have a quick demo of it. So reveal, and you'll basically use the arrow keys to navigate your slides here. So it's a very sleek way to create presentations and go through there. So, and you can use org mode to create these kind of slides. That's pretty cool. And to do that, you will have the Emacs configuration. So let's go XF again. And I will go into my configuration file real quick, and Emacs D init EL. That is the basically initialization file. So here you have the evil mode, what I showed you, evil real quick, and some packages. So it's a really bare bones configuration, but yeah, it's too mild. I don't use it that much at this moment, so I'm good with that. So there's some other configuration you can do, and it uses the Lisp syntax, so Lisp programming language. So it's pretty cool, but you can really dive deeper into it if you want. Let's say you want to start, so create this init EL, and if you hit Alt X again, Alt X, and you have the smacks, you can do the package install. If you want to cancel, Control G, you cancel it, and then it says quit here. And let's say you want to install terminal, eTerm, I think it's the one. Package install, it's already there, eTerm. Then it's contacting the host, and it's now already done. And you can trigger it by Alt X again. Yeah, so it's been a while since I used Emacs, and I think you should just reuse shell here. Shell. So I have shell here, I have my command line here, and I can do stuff. Yeah, so you can just launch the shell, and you can pipe the output from the shell to an Emacs buffer, and yeah, it really gets more advanced. So let's say you want to change the buffer here. So Control X B. So switch to buffer, hello org, go back in there. Right, so yeah, it's a very deep rabbit hole to go into, and I hope it makes some sense for you, and I hope it's interesting for you. If you want to dive deeper, just check out Reinar's channel as well, or his Udemy course, and just start doing stuff with Emacs. Pretty cool. If you want to exit, Control XC, and then you want to save it. Yeah, why not? I save it. Active process exists. Exit, yes. So now I'm X. So to Emacs, you can start. Control CX to exit. There you go. So yeah, that's about it about the editors. Just to quickly summarize, you can easily edit your text files from terminal using Nano. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper, have a little bit more features, use VIM. And that's also installed on many operating systems already. And if you really want to dive deep into the rabbit hole and make it your own, then certainly check out Emacs. Yeah, I think have fun with it, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.